Hello, my name is Leah Katung-Babatunde, and of course, this is Top Talk. The media landscape has been awash with changes following the global dynamics in our everyday lives. And so, is the media still in charge of narratives, and how is the contemporary media shaping conversations and information disseminations in Nigeria? I have joining me Reverend OGALA Sani. He is, of course, a multimedia personality and a clergy. It is nice to have you join me, Reverend, for this conversation.
Thank you, Lydia.
Perhaps I will start by finding out from you, a reverend gentleman and a media personality. At what point did you meet?
Well, actually, I started work in the radio in 1980.
Oh, wow.
But before I started the work, the service had also become a young evangelist all over the land at that time. So getting into the media was like going with what I have been doing over the years. So it has been part of me, and walking down life at a point I was ordained fully as a reverend in charge of a ministry. So, and that was in the year 1998.
Oh, wow.
So the reverend or the clergy and the media has been part of me. But I think the clergy came first, because I was into evangelism at a very high level before I joined the media. And of course, I didn't push it aside. Rather, I continued the journey, both my faith and also the career I have chosen.
Okay, can you just talk me through your take on gaining requisite knowledge as a media practitioner?
Yeah, it's important. You know, before this time, what we were told was that the first thing that is considered for the media work is your talent. And that actually kept some people at a very low level in their in gaining education to be able to perform excellently. Like from the secondary school, I joined the media, but I told myself I was going back to school. So for every person, I used to tell them, it's not how you started, but how you end. So which is what is happening today. The challenges in the media today require somebody with a more robust knowledge, somebody who has greater capacity to be able to assimilate and also disseminate the right information. So if you remain at that level, you will not be able to fit into the present scheme of things. So first and foremost, being in the media is like once in talking about a lawyer who believes he's a learned person. Yes, that is true. A media person too should not limit his knowledge to one area. He should be able to go through various knowledge. For instance, if you're a reporter covering crime, if you don't know a little bit about the law and also the police position in you will go astray in most of your presentation. So it's important that you acquire the relevant knowledge to be able to perform your duty excellently. And doing that in the present scheme of things is not only acquiring the professional knowledge, but you also acquire academic knowledge. Why am I saying that? Yes, you know, the FRCN training school is there, the TV college is there, and these institutions have been put in place. We attended these institutions to be able to equip us and also to perform excellently. But because the society is dynamic, we have come also to a point that that knowledge that we acquire there may not be all that is required, especially in these days of social media. So you need more. You need to have subjected yourself to training academically so that you know what you need to do in some cases where you meet some cases, how to handle it. So every media person should desire to improve knowledge. In fact, it's a continuous education. As far as those of you who are still fully active in it, your knowledge in it should not be limited to what you learned in the school or in the TV college or even in the journalism school, but it should go beyond that. From the very foolish thing we think are written on the social media, there are a lot of things to learn. So it's a continuous education. So it's important that we keep on acquiring and keep on developing ourselves. So developing yourself as a media person is a continuous one. So I believe in it.
So is the social media subjecting the conventional media by your observation?
No, it's not. It's not. But what is there is that, you see, we don't want to remain. You know, my time didn't really meet much of the social media. That because what, in fact, the private radio stations and television stations came in when some of us were almost trying to round off our active media work. But then we now discover that if you ignore what is put on the social media and you don't also look for a means of balancing and correcting some of the wrong impressions created, the people will be highly misinformed. But if they will not be highly misinformed, then you have to also know some of the people. You have to even check their background when they write some of this. Check their background to know why they write, and some of the things they write is, you know, we look at, for us maybe in the conventional radio, television, we also try to look at things that will help to promote unity in the society. Is that also? But these people don't even think about such things. For instance, there are some pictures you are not allowed to put on your television. Accidents that are not so good. You don't bring out the faces of the people so that somebody sitting at home will not collapse seeing somebody he knows. But those people, they don't care. So they just put these things on the social media and people read. So we need, as a matter of discipline, to be able to see a way of helping the society to know the right thing that is being presented. But they are not in any way controlling us. Rather, you know, just like a father, when you look at your child and your child is not going the way you want, do you now turn your eye away from your child? No, you now come down, sit down with, why is this child behaving like this? Why is this? So when you look at all these things, you will now be able to see how you can correct the child, and the child will accept some of the corrections. It may not be all, some, because the terrain we grew is quite different from the present terrain. We're not exposed to much of what we are seeing today when we're growing. But today, a lot of things, a child of 3 years has seen a lot of things on television, seen a lot of things heard a lot of things on the radio, through the handsets. They can even get more than you think. So you have to see how you balance these things. So they are only helping us to put us on our toes to know how best to can help the society.
Okay. Do you get people try to reach you to clarify some things they've seen on the social media?
A lot of people, maybe because of my background.
Exactly.
Not because I have a media outlet or whatever, but they try to call sometimes, say, these things, have you read it? Say, what is it? Sometimes they will even be the one to show me, and I go through it. Some I will tell them that, well, with my background, there are certain things that I don't accept hook, line, and sink. I just accept them using my personal judgment. From what I have read, there are a lot of distortions. There are a lot of additions. There are things that should not come in. So I see that there is no balancing in the story that has been presented. But let's watch and see. And in some cases, the conventional media will come and correct some of the information. So a lot of people call. But of course, since I am not fully into it now, I don't give them the final answer. But what I tell them, watch and see. And this is my personal opinion, because I have had this background. But then watch and see.
Okay. What is your take on media freedom in Nigeria?
The media freedom. Well, there is no freedom without control. That is the first thing I would say. Every freedom must be controlled. So, but I want to say that in Nigeria, the level of freedom is so restricted. Restricted in the sense that certain information that the public deserves to know through the conventional media, they are not allowed. Like while working in those days, sometimes preparing even the news bulletin, there will be a call that these things should not be reflected on the news. And those people are not news people. Maybe they are just politicians. They say, don't reflect this. And even if you know that this thing will benefit the public, you have to step it down. So the level of freedom is so restricted in Nigeria. And those who try to preach this freedom, sometimes they get terminated early in life. One of them was Dele Giwa, who was a freedom fighter with the media. See how his life was terminated with just a later bomb. So the freedom, of course, they will tell us there is media freedom. Yes, but that is in writing. In the real sense and in practice, the freedom is highly restricted. You and me know now that it's not those things you use your professional judgment to say it can be aired, that can be aired, because the level of freedom is also restricted. But be that as it may, I want to say that with the coming of the private media, it has helped to also reduce the level of restriction. Because to some extent, there are certain things that you believe that the public deserves to know, which you put on air. You don't even have to refer to anybody, because these things are not injurious to the society. But you see, so the powers that be somehow say, no, it should not be. But now that you are in a place that, because they say, he who pays
the pipe, that takes the tune.
So for you are accountable to this organization, which is promoting excellence in broadcasting. Are you getting me? So that is your focus, and that is your vision. It's not as to say, let us continue to promote one particular person or particular organization. No. So I think with the coming of the private media, we're a little bit better. But even then, you can see some of the treatment given out to some of the personnel who dared to do the thing that the profession demands. They have actually paid for it. They pay costly price. In some cases, they will even be, they will tell the even if it's a private station, they will tell if you don't remove this person, this is what will happen. You can see some of the time, some private TV, radio stations were closed without even explanation. Sometimes they say they have withdrawn the license. So all these things are part of the thing that will tell us that the freedom is a limited freedom. It's a restricted freedom.
Okay. I would hold you on that because I'm told we're due for our very first break, and when we come back, I'll be taking more questions about your experiences in radio and, of course, as an advertisement practitioner. We'll be back in just a moment. Thank you for remaining with me on Top Talk, and I've been speaking with the Reverend Gentleman Ogala Moses Sani. Nice to have you still stay intact for this conversation.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
What's the experience like working in a radio house as a broadcaster?
Well, thank you so much. Well, like I told you, I started very low, but I discovered that I had in me very resident talent that I needed to showcase. So I gave myself all the opportunity to showcase the talents. While in the radio, like I started work in 1980. Before I went to school, back to school, I started writing radio scripts for play.
Okay.
I started writing scripts for narration. I've started trying my hands on presentation too. So the radio or the media generally gives one opportunity to bring out, manifest the talents that you have without much restriction. So in the course of working in the radio, at the point I went into commercial broadcasting, and in my station then I was the first to begin to bring out certain things that could help the station generate more revenue. Actually, I was not the head at that time, but as soon as I finished from the Kaduna Polytechnic, because of the course I read, I was now moved into marketing department, and I brought out quite a lot of suggestions on what to do to make more money. And when I look back today, I am still very, very proud of my own contributions at that time. I was a little boy in the department, but I had so much in me to give. And one of such was that before that time, people never used to pay for the request card they use. The government will print the request card, share it to the people free of charge. They will bring it, they will use the airtime and all the names and celebrate the people with their birthdays and whatever. Then I told them, printing this thing costs us money, and when you print it properly, you get better people to buy it. And before they were trying, they said, no, how will people pay? They will not accept to pay. I said, leave it to me. I designed it, and we went ahead with it. It became a landmark achievement because we began to make so much from it. The next thing was that I said a lot of people want to be live on air. When they are live on air, make money from them. And we had what we call from our local government. It was a free program done for local government chairman. And they were doing it free. You will beg them to come because they didn't see no value.
No value.
So I told them, I wrote my proposal. Even though initially they said it can't work, I said, give it to me. I will write the script myself. Because along the line, I now worked closely with people who were good script writers, and I developed myself. I will write the script, and they listen to it, they will like it. I got good voices to do the presentation. And I designed the format of the program, how it will look like. I tell you, that program, people who were chairmen began to struggle. Some will book for 4 editions. I say, for the next 4 editions, don't give it to anybody. It's me. It's me. I have so much to tell the people. So there are things that we think people will not pay for it, but they will pay gladly if it is achieving a purpose. So let me leave that aspect of the commercial, of what I was able to do. There are quite a lot of that. I did things like what we call commercial parcel, trader-buyer connection. I was the one who kind of created this program, and I also joined in producing and presentation. So it elsewhere, as I'm talking to you, they are still holding that program. Those programs are still retained in the first station I worked, that is Radio Benue. And I was a junior staff that time. That is to tell you that in the radio and in the television, no matter your position, you are allowed to make contribution, provided it will help the organization. So along the line, I went into deep and corporate commercial jingles. I began to produce for some organizations there. I would produce and take to them, and when they listen to it, they say, "Oh, we like it." How can I said, "No, you can do. You can air it on my station." So they would not even have requested, but you know, human beings, by the time they listen to what we have presented, they become interested. So today, we don't have to sit in one place and expect money to come to the organization. We should use every available means to bring money into the organization. And that was what I did. In fact, I became a member of the management from 1993. I was very, very young. Or 92. Yeah. And I remained in that management until 2015 when I retired. So actually I was one of the longest serving management staff in the whole organization, and even the one I transited to. Though eventually I was now appointed the Director General and the Chief Executive of the radio, and that was what I kept doing until I retired. But even as a Chief Executive, this is where I am coming to, I didn't see myself as somebody strange to the studio, to the news, to the commercial department, and even the admin. I participated in everything. In fact, the engineering, I knew most of the things directly because I sit with them to work with them. So the experience is like a gamut, gathering all form of experience while working in the radio. And it helped me, especially when I became the chief executive. I was able to do quite a lot of things that we needed money to do, and we didn't have the money. You know, government media is usually ignored.
Always broke.
But very broke. So, like at the time I came in, we didn't, our studio for production was just one. The presentation studio, live studio was just one. And we were doing everything analog. Analog in the sense that we write the news, take it to the studio read it and bring it. I said, no, this is not good. So within 6 months, I increased the studios from 1 to 4 so that the producers at various levels could easily do their production without having to queue. And at the end, maybe in rushing to do a program, they will not do a good production. Then the live studio, I now created facilities that will make it possible for the news reader who is in the studio, maybe doing presentation, to read the news live from the newsroom where it is being typed. Because in the radio, for instance, mostly we have presenters who present the news.
Yes.
It's not like, you know, in the TV mostly, the news writer are the ones who present the news. So in most cases, they will be unfamiliar with some of the words used, especially that there is this rush news. You are coming, the news is given to you, the bulletin is given to you by 2-3 minutes to the time of delivery.
Or a late script comes when you're on air. So
all these things were things that I didn't like. But along the line, within 6 months, the producer's program can be previewed in the studio by the person, because I made sure there was a local area network that now linked up the newsroom, the producer's room, the director general's office. If he wants to know what is it, the commercial too, the advert, as it is, he's able to see the ad. Not that you bring it live to him. No, he can check what is going on today, everything, and it was a massive improvement compared to what I met. And of course, government radio, sometimes they only talk 3 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. But within 6 months, without government 1 naira, I also moved the station from 7 hours to 21-hour broadcast.
Oh, wow.
And that was what we made until I left. What happened after? They were telling me it's difficult to sustain that tempo and the rest. I said, well, it's not difficult because, you know, maybe because of my background, it was easy for me to get partners. For instance, I got somebody who brought in over 20 laptops. And I said, put his name as one of those who have contributed. Another person I called, I said, come and build us a studio. And they did. Say, if you like, put the name and say studio of this person. That is not what, it's when you come there that you see the name. Is that not so?
Yeah, of course.
So there were some abandoned places. I brought people, I said, renovate it. We'll put it renovated by this. And those people did. So government were waiting for about 200 and something million at that time to do it. And
you were able to get partners to do it.
And we got partners to do most of the things. But you know, government, there were a lot of challenges because it was depriving some people from making money. So, and when I was taking on it, I said, well, it's my passion. It's my passion. It's not even if money doesn't come out of it. You are passion. You have passion for this, for us to succeed, and that was it. In fact, I was almost going to doing some things that they wouldn't really need to have been using diesel for a long time. And I had gone to advanced level. If I had stayed maybe 3 months later before my retirement, which of course was voluntary, I had reached 35 years in service. I didn't want any
issues of extension at all.
No. I wanted to live and rest, which is like what I am doing today.
Yeah, but we've seen in recent time, I will digress,
yes,
that people get appointed into public offices,
yes,
and then their tenure expires, and then before it expires, they're running all over the place looking for extensions. No matter the amount of extension they give you, is there anything you can add to the system that you've not added in the past?
Well, you see, number one, I wouldn't say it is wrong for them to look for, not because I didn't get it or look for it. But one thing I know is that, like when I was in service, I told you I joined very early. In fact, at the age of 18, I started working. And I used a number of years to go to school, though it was steadily without pay some places, and then sometimes with pay. So by the time I fully returned from school, they were willing to give me an enhanced appointment to start afresh. And I said, no, I want to leave service early. And in fact, they gave me that, and I fought by writing a lot of petitions why my appointment date should be backdated.
A lot of Nigerians wouldn't do that.
Yes, that was, the admin people kept telling me, why are you doing this? You are still young. You waste. I said, no, it's better for me to leave when I am young. So 10 years after I left service, those I started on the same day with them were still in service. Not because they doctored their dates as such, but because we were all giving fresh appointments, and they decided to accept it so that they can stay longer in service. But you know, as God will have it, the people even started before me on the same salary, on the same grade level. I became their boss because I wanted to rush and leave. God moved me, and I became their boss before I left service. What am I saying? Well, those who want to, especially public offices, they like to remain. But what I was telling them, I said, my children have started leaving university. Where will they work? Me now, if I leave, 1 naira will, you know, those of us who even work at that level, The 1 naira will not be taken out of your salary. You'll be paid your full salary for life. So why are you running around? Oh, the main reason, and I see in most cases, is not because of the salary pay, but because of relevance. They want to remain in power. And why must you remain in power when somebody else can still come there and outperform whatever you have done? Even if you know how to do it, if me I'm in position, even if the person knows how to do it best, I will not give you a contract appointment or whatever. Because it gives room for despotence, behavior and whatever. You begin to treat people anyhow because you see yourself as emperor, one who live beyond the time you are welcome. So there is no point giving people more distance. We have private stations today. So if the person, for instance, is in the radio, go and work in the private stations, the remaining part of your life. It will be good. That experience you have gathered is okay. Are you getting me? But it's not so. Even those who have worked at the highest level, you see even people who are senators, some have been there for almost, if I say 50 years, you will say, when did we start democracy? But they have been there since the time we started. And they are not willing to live there. You see, those who have been governors, after being governor, they will put somebody they know who can be also subject to them. So it's not only civil servants or public servants, politicians also want to remain. So that is it. So it's important that Nigerian mindset should change. Let us know that we are training a generation that is coming behind us. Let's give them opportunity to excel. In fact, when you give them that opportunity, in most cases, they will do far better than us because we are analog.
I'm going to come back with some digital questions, but of course, that will be after this break. Thank you for still staying by on the program. I've been speaking with Reverend OGALA Moses Sani, and we're going to take on the home stretch some questions that will interest you out there. Reverend?
Yeah.
I'm told you used to be a footballer.
Yes.
What jersey number did you wear?
Yes, I actually played for my local government. In those days, you know, we used to have all these under 13, under 12. I played till when I was. The irony of it was that sometimes I play 9, sometimes I come to number 2.
Oh.
In those days. So what happened is that I was a good striker and I was also a good defender. So if we don't have enough strikers, I'll be moved to the number 9 or number 10 so that I could supply the ball to those in the front.
When there are no defenders,
but when there are no defenders, I come back to do the clearance. so I can comfortably say I was 9, 10 and 2. That's why I love a lot of strikers when I see them taking striking decision. When I watch football, up to now I still watch. Like last night I watched till very late in the night, because I want to see their move. It's not like we used some of the things that were not fouls when we were playing. They are now
fouls because of the VAR.
Yeah. So because in those days, if you can see somebody come, you come and clear the person. Clear the person. The person cannot move. Nobody will really frown at it. The highest they will say take a yellow card. But today, if you do such a thing, tackling from behind. And
get a red card.
Get the red
and some match bans.
So and all those stuff. So these are things that we did. But 9, 10, and 2 was my area.
What club do you support?
You see, I think mine is dynamic because dynamic in the sense that it changes. But sincerely, I was a strong Arsenal fan when Kanu Nwankwo was there. So when Kanu Nwankwo left Arsenal,
and you followed them to Chelsea,
I now began to support Chelsea. because I was seeing some Nigerian boys inside and some Africans,
from Ghana,
especially Didier Drogba and the rest of them. You know, a good striker. I love striking. So, but I now my interest now shifted to the coach, a resilient coach that is focused, and that is Alex Ferguson of the Manchester United. So I began to love his way of winning without putting too much. You know, some of the problem of Arsenal at the point was they will be doing all the dribbling as a winger, especially. You like the football, score. So that was the challenge. But this man, his own was go and score the goal. That is the important thing, and that is what is counted, not the good football. So I became a fan of Manchester United. Then along the line, when the man left, my loyalty was a little bit in that. So I began to go beyond England, and Real Madrid became a favorite club I love because of their winning mentality.
There's always a comeback.
Yes, they are always winning, you know. And you would say, but now I began to love Arsenal with the coming of Attah. Just that they are not performing good like last year. Though they are still number 2 on the league table. Liverpool is taking the...
But somehow Arsenal will always come down. Yes. That elephant will always fall down from the tree. That is
always one of the challenges one has. Man U, as poor as they were performing last season, they still won the FA Cup. Is that not so? So, and that now kept them in the Europa. So they are playing the Europa Cup. But I think they have not really been performing well there. Yeah. But in Europe now, the clubs that are doing pretty well, especially in England, is Liverpool.
Liverpool is doing nice.
The other time, Nottingham Forest, they were coming up very well, but they are gone down. And Tottenham Hotspur were doing well too, but they are because see the way they dealt with Man City 4-0, which nobody had ever. That thing had put the dent on Man City. Since then, they have not really been able to.
I was still looking for who their fans are in Nigeria. Everybody's quiet.
They have a lot of fans, but you see, the thing is that that day Man City was quiet, but the Bremer, I don't know what happened. He has not really. But my son was telling me that there is one person missing in Man City, and because that person is missing, is the problem of Man City. One single person, is it Rodrigo? We call it. So I said, well, that is always the case. One player who dictates the play, like any day. What is his name? The captain of Manchester United is not playing. Hernandez. They will be playing.
Some say Man City is paying for collecting a Ballon d'Or they do not deserve.
No, one wouldn't say pay. In fact, the player that got it is the one that cannot play now.
Yes.
He has injuries and he's down. He's not able to play.
Is it he's paying for it?
Yes, that may be. You know that there's a problem in victory to be able to maintain
winning.
So that is always another challenge. So that thing gives you a very big personality, and each time you are coming into the game, you come with that mentality that this is who we are, and that may make you to make a lot of mistakes.
I think in the university we had a coach that would always say it was very easy to be a champion, but very difficult to maintain being a champion because everyone is training to beat you.
Yes, so that is the thing. And in most cases, in football now, which is digital, what they do is that they watch the film over and over and study your moves. You know, when you discover that when a player comes to a club newly, he'll be dealing with any opponent they meet. Because they have not known most of his moves. But by the time they have studied you and known how you take your move, when you are with the ball, if you are moving forward or you are turning back before you dribble, they know. But now that they must have watched you over and over, The next thing, you will sustain injury if you want to do that same thing, because they have known what your antics are. The only ones are people who are, some players are unpredictable. Even if you watch them 100 times, the next time they are coming with another thing, another this. And one of such players I see is the young man they call Vinicius. Vinicius Junior is something is a phenomenon. I love his free flow football. He has courage when he's moving with the ball. You know, there are some people, they are not courageous. He knows the decision to take when he's with the ball. Of course, he makes mistakes sometimes, but it happens with every player. So in Real Madrid, you pick the players, almost everybody is a star. If you pick Bellingham, you know he's a young man that is focused with strength, but sometimes too he makes his mistake. And you know, these are the 4 people. Mbappe too, this is his first season. Yeah. I think he has scored 10 goals already. So he's moving fast. By the time he knows the terrain better, he can even do better. You know, those are the 4 liners there in that Real Madrid who have been doing a lot of this thing.
Okay, but when we come back home now, I'm sorry to cut. When we come back home now, why are Nigerian clubs not having the time to do the technicalities you have just outlined?
Number one, they don't have facilities. Though. There is no second, there is no proper sponsorship for the game in the country. Apart from, yes, individuals have put up clubs in places, but what are they giving to them? What training are they giving to them? Who is their coach? What are they paying the coach? What are they paying the players? And when you get to some of the stadium where they are using, some of the stadia are very, very backward. Some don't even have electronic scoreboard. Some don't have good facilities for medical attention. Some, the stuff is very bad. When you are running on the field, it will be pulling you back. These are some of the things. So one, there is the need for more sponsorship of the game in Nigeria. What do I mean by more sponsorship? Anything, people say better soup. What will happen? Now money kill them. There is a need to inject more money into the game in Nigeria. And doing that means sponsorship. Of course, we now know it's not government that can do it. And God has blessed Nigerians with people with lots of money. They don't even know what to do it. That's why some are kept in the tanks, some are kept under, some are kept in the bush. That kind of money, bring it and sponsor the game. It makes people happy. At least when people are watching football, some are happy. In fact, somebody say the time Nigerians are more united is when they are playing football against other nations. Everybody will come out to support Nigeria. Whether you are from the north or west, playing the football is immaterial. What we are concerned is how you play well on the field. So that kind of thing should be given sponsorship. So let those who God has blessed or their hard work has blessed, because some people will say it's not God. Yes, your hard work bless you. Let others also enjoy that hard work, so that that legacy of football in the past, when you hear the name Nigeria, you will always know that there is going to be a good play today. Especially in the days of Christian Chukwu. You know, these are days that I follow football very well. You know, he was called chairman. He was playing central midfield because anyhow you do, come to the center, he will collect the ball and take it back. There was Aloysius Atebo, the blockbuster. He could stop any ball. And of course, there was Haruna Ilerika, a free-flow footballer who could play from all directions. And of course, the mathematical Shego Degbami and Godwin Odie, who eventually scored against Nigeria at a point. You know, so all these people were people who had made name. When you come to the goal, of course, you meet the giant Emmanuel Okala, that it was difficult to go past him. So when you have people who have made name, and of course that time we say patriotism, there was also an addition, love for the nation, yes, patriotism. The people were not too exposed to go to other countries like we have today. You know, from the time of Stephen Keshi, when they started going to Belgium and the rest of them, Ulysses, all of them traveled, they have become foreigners in a way. In fact, when they come to Nigeria, why Nigerian players are not able to play sometimes when they come back to Africa? Number one, the turf, the field is no longer the field they are used to. Our own is not friendly to their movement. Number two, the facilities around are so archaic, things that you can say maybe things some of us used, not their generation. So these are the things. So that is why you now discover that the Nigerian football is not really growing. It's growing, but not moving at the pace we expected. Like now, you hear of electronic scoreboard in some of the stadia. There is nothing like
that. Yes.
You getting me?
With very
then today, some countries are already going into what they call playback and all this to know whether all those things are not yet
virtual assistant. Right?
Yes, nothing like that. So we are still dependent on the analog day. In those days, in the olden days, we are still doing those things. So we need to move. Let's see what other countries are doing and see how we can improve. So for those who are in charge of the game makes people happy. Please, let's give them that support and let's mobilize. Sometimes if you don't mobilize, if you don't tell people, they wouldn't know that they need to help the situation.
Okay, I want to take another digital question now, and
yes.
It's about agriculture.
Yes.
You do farming.
Yes.
Why is it that we as a country have not gotten it right to a point of sufficiency?
Well, agriculture is what God has blessed Nigeria with because we have good land, we have good weather. But there is no sincerity in the approach being used by the government. I'm blank, I'm blunt, are you getting me? Why I say sincerity is that there is no manner of agricultural programs that have not been introduced in Nigeria. We have had the Green Revolution, we have had cassava growers, we have all manner. But because there is no sincerity in the approach, these things are not working. What do I call sincerity? You say they say there's Anchor Brewers scheme. You want to give money to 1,000 people, then you give money to 100 people and pocket the rest. Is there sincerity? And those people you have given to, I remember there was a time money was paid into the account of all the beneficiaries and the money was withdrawn. It was shown, the alert came, but it was withdrawn. Where did it go? No sincerity. You see, we can't remain in the primitive farming method and expect to feed the growing population. We need something of a higher level. You know one thing with Nigeria, even if it is on the carpet, you grow something to grow, but you need something to do it. I went into farming, immediately I left service. But you know that in Nigeria, your farming also takes your physical strength because you don't have the improved technology to use. And how long do you think somebody, even though I was not old when I retired, how long do you think I can put that energy in place to now say I will farm? You want to get the people who farm for you, they are not even there. If we had proper technology in place, which let me say it. See, Nigeria our economy can be driven on only cassava. Only cassava. I'm telling you, without even oil, it can be driven. Because there are over 200 things we can get from cassava alone. And cassava responds to any soil. Cassava responds to any soil. So it's an easy farm. But you see, beyond that, God blessed us with rice farming land. Segment the country into places. There are places that you go, rice is the major thing they can farm. Empower them. There are some places you go, groundnut. I mean, is groundnut oil not very expensive now?
Yeah.
Groundnut, encourage the North to do what they know how to do. Even sugarcane plantation. I mean, see how expensive sugar is today. So there is nothing you pick in Nigeria which the government sincerely desire to promote. What I'm saying government is that, you see, no individual has that strength to go. For instance, I have said it, and I keep telling people, thank God I'm not interested in politics. What I'm saying is that let nobody think that it's because I want to contest. No, I'm not interested. Even if you dash me being a governor, I will not do it. Now, what am I saying? If, for instance, I become a governor of a state, I only need federal government's money for just the first 2 years. After the first 2 years, even if they don't give me anything again, I can drive the state. You know the reason? The first year I will study the state, local government by local government. What are they best at? If we empower 10,000 people in every local government, do you know that in our local government, in our local places, if you give 1 million naira, not cash, do something of 1 million naira for one person, it can change the fortune of that person for life. Like if you invest 1 million into cassava, you get 10 million. I can tell you this authoritatively.
So we're all waiting for FAC.
Yes. So if you get that 10 million and the person that you empower, you give the person 5 million, government take 5 million and reinvest again, don't you think the nation will grow? I mean, it's so easy to run this country, but there is no sincerity. If you take cashew, only cashew, you can make it to become the driver of the economy. Everything in Nigeria can drive our economy. Is it the tomato that you can turn into many things? Is it the onions that you can turn? But these people need to be empowered. And what is the empowerment? Apart from money, there should be defined agricultural settlement now. Not what we are doing. One person will go to farm and farm 10 lines. He says, I have farm. No. There should be defined agricultural settlement where if you have 1,000 people, you have 1,000 hectares of land. Each person taking care of their own. And such land, such farm should be well protected. Because one of the challenges of the people today again is that of insecurity. But when it is government that put this in place, and there is security, I can tell you, if government invests 10 billion naira in that place, they will get 200 billion. 200 billion. And that brings me to, there is something that was happening in Kwara. I don't know whether it's still continuing. They brought in the Israelis to help them go into agriculture. I don't know whether it's been sustained.
I don't think so.
I'm not hearing from them again. But this is what we should do. That, look, the young people today who finish from the university and polytechnics, they will not be struggling for a job if there are defined agricultural settlements. You know what that means? For instance, where you are farming cassava, for instance, and you have 1,000 hectares of land, and you have 1,000 fresh graduates come to that place. You know what that translates to? That cassava, as it's being harvested, there should be an industry, a primary industry that will turn it into another thing. And we have been told the water, the liquid that we throw away as local people of the cassava is the more potent thing that is in the cassava, because we don't know it. And if it is done on commercial basis and they move the yields from the farm directly to the industry. Let me tell you, it's not only those who read agriculture that will benefit. At that place, engineers who will work on it to turn it, those who read food science, who want to do processing and turn it into different things. Some will even turn it into bread. Some will turn it into cake. Some will turn it into medicine. So at that point of first processing, you are also engaging more than 1,000 people. And as you are moving it from there, there are people who have read marketing. There are people who have read accounting. There are people who have read mass communication. There are people who have read law. And what are those people to do? As marketers, you began to design the way to present this thing to the public. And the packaging will become so special. And everybody will accept it. And of course, the lawyers have to look at the laws that will help make sure that what you are doing is not, whatever you put there is the right thing. Then the administrator, they are there to make sure things are being properly coordinated, organized, and properly controlled in a way that the place will be sustained. So there is always a chain that will be created when we decide to go into agriculture.
And do the agriculture.
And do it
right.
sincerely.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I must sincerely thank you, sir, for making time for this conversation.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And this is the much we can take for this episode, of course, until we come your way again same time next week. My name is Leah Katimbaba today. Have a beautiful time out there, and God bless Nigeria.